We're on time. Welcome everybody. I just itched or scratched my face here, so it's nice and red. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't show too much on camera. Welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in on the live stream. Before we get into it, I contacted YouTube at the start of this week, I think it was, or maybe 4 days ago or something like that. And oh, I'll just turn my audio off. And they said that notifications are working fine. So I think the way to fix it, if you're not getting notified of any of my videos, either unsubscribe and resubscribe, and then click the bell again. John mentioned that worked for him. So yeah, or just click the bell off and then click it back on and click whichever one you like the best. So if you click all notifications, you'll actually see my live streams, which if you want to be a part of it, that's the way to do it. So thank you everybody. Yeah, it's getting pretty frustrating trying to reach people when every video and live stream I do, somebody says, or multiple people say, hey, I didn't know you were still posting. It's like, thanks for that. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Welcome everybody. Thanks again. Now the camera is here. My comments are over here. If you're new to the live streams, I'm going to take some questions. We're going to talk about some gear stuff as well and what's coming up. So, all right. And this is the comment that John posted. So there you go, everybody. So you can take a look at that. It sort of worked after doing this. And this is what I've had to do on a friend of mine, Peter Gregg's channel multiple times over the last 12 months. I don't know what it is. It just, it's jinxed. Anyway, so let's get into this. All right, Chris says, first question, the house is on fire and you only have to grab one guitar from your vast collection. It's not that vast, but it's not bad. Which one would you save? I would probably save one of my Kiesel guitars. Yeah, as much as I love my 52 reissue Telecaster, the other guitars are better. And so I would probably save one of those two. It would be a tough choice to pick which one I would save, but you know, pretty much all week I've been, not all week, but over the course of the last few days I've been playing the 3-pickup single coil guitar, and it's so good. It's actually what inspired me to put the lace sensors back in my Strat, because as great and as noiseless as the noiseless pickups are, the single coil sounded awesome, and the lace sensors are single coil, but they're kind of a bit different, so they're right in the middle. So I would say I would probably take the single coil guitar. Oh man, it's hard to pick, but it'd be one of those two Kiesels. I think they're on a different level. There's no questions about it. All right, John says, note for Shane, the notifications came up on my phone 30 minutes before kickoff. Oh, cool. I think did I already reply to that? Anyway, that's awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Awesome. Jeff Harper's here. Welcome, mate. Thanks for joining in. If you have any questions, let us know. We've got 41 people watching already. So if you can, folks, leave a thumbs up. And again, if you just joined before we kick this off, notifications are basically broken. So if you can unclick the bell, click it again, hit notifications, it'll work. That's the consensus now. So thank you again for all the support. All right, we are on time. Audio is good. Thank you, mate. That's great. I did a quick test. I set up an hour early. Made sure everything worked. And we're good to go. So, yeah, that's how we do it. All right. We've got Simon. It says, just in time for the 11 a.m. coffee. Very good, mate. It's 9 o'clock p.m. here in Melbourne, Australia, but Melbourne, Sydney, and I don't know if Adelaide's the same time here. But, yeah, that's great. Cool. Good morning over there to everyone watching from the UK. My friend Dr. Rick's basically a local over there now. He seems to be going like every 3 weeks at this point. So, yeah, we've got to. I actually spoke to Rick the other day. We'll be doing some more stuff coming up pretty soon. Might not be until. Well, it might be next. We'll see. It'll be coming up before the end of the year anyway. All right, welcome, mate. Is it Axel? How you doing, man? Thanks for joining in. I like the backdrop there. Very cool. All right. We'll have a chat about the pickup swap in just a moment. I got a question for all the tech heads who are watching. I've run into a slight snag with my technical skills when it comes to rewiring guitars and all that kind of stuff. So I'll talk about that in just a moment. But this is basically just an Ask Me Anything Q&A kind of thing. We'll chat guitars and all that kind of thing. I got to say, just personally, like all the new guitars that I've seen coming out and I've just sort of like switched off from it. I don't know if it's because I'm like invested in, or you know, making content and stuff just about gear all the time, but the latest sort of like, you know, the version 2s of all the Fender stuff, and I don't know. Let us know what you think in the comment section. I'm not overly interested in like checking them out now. I've kind of like lost interest. I'm more interested in like the other guitars that are arguably better from other brands and different manufacturers and stuff. But I still love my Fender guitar, my Strat, and I've got my couple of Telecasters. But yeah, I'm sort of a little bit bored with it, man, to be honest, with all that kind of stuff. But let us know. I think a lot of people felt like there's just been a lack of interesting stuff. And one of the comments I saw on, I think, one of my posts said something like, because Fender own Charvel and all these other brands, they can't stray too far away without sort of cutting into these other guitar brands. And that kind of makes sense. So, yeah, anyway. All right, we got Ralph from San Diego. Awesome stuff. Do you guys play much surf guitar down under? No, I don't really know anyone that does, mate. It's not really a style I've kind of come across that often at like jams. Occasionally you'll hear like some Dick Dale stuff, but it's pretty rare, and it's usually just as a joke in amongst, you know, like something else that's going on in the same key. Someone's playing in E, they'll do the Pulp Fiction theme or something like that. But yeah, I don't really hear too much of that. You know, that's just where I am right now and where I live. I don't really hear too much of that kind of stuff. It's a cool style of music, though. It's something that I've always said to myself, you know, I'd like to sort of sink my teeth into that at some point, but I haven't. It requires a certain sort of rhythm hand. Settled into the new gaff. It's been about a year, has it? Yeah, just over a year. I'm actually gonna have a real estate agent come in, and I'll be moving at some point pretty soon, because yeah, it's just too loud where I am. There's right after we moved in, the noise here has just gone up to the point where it's really tricky for me to film. It's frustrating to work in a room where there's truck noise and motorcycle noise and all kinds of crap going on. So yeah, the house itself is fine. It's just the area is too noisy. I moved from a really quiet area into what I thought was a quiet area, and now it isn't. So it's time to go. And I'll be doing that probably early next year, maybe by Feb. It's a shame to have to rip everything out and move, but it is what it is. It feels like the right thing to do, so I'll be doing that again. But thank you, mate. I appreciate the question. Do I plan on testing out the new Laney solid state amps? Yeah, Laney is a tough brand for me to find anywhere here, man. I don't really know anywhere that sells it. I think there might be a couple of places that have it, but I don't really know anyone at the shops that well. Because Laney's a sort of real hit and miss brand for me. I like some of their smaller valve combos, like the 15. The 30's okay. It sort of feels like a poor man's Vox, but they make a couple of great little amps, and I'd like to try, like you said, they make solid state amplifiers. That's cool. If I get a chance to, I will for sure, but I don't think Sky Music, where I borrow most of the stuff you see, actually has any. So I'll see if they can get some if it's a brand they're looking to get into. But yeah, thanks for the suggestion. We got Improv Guitar Jams. Hey, Bill and Ted's. Very cool. Excellent. Do you think an HSS Stratocaster is an all-rounder? Yeah, it's funny how many people think, like they ask actually me what I think of replacing the bridge pickup in a Strat for a HSS, or for a humbucker, and having that combination. I don't know if you can hear that car, but essentially, I think it's probably still good to have a great Strat with a single coil in the bridge. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that configuration. Actually, I'm a big fan. As a lefty, there's not many options that come with that. You know, Rick recently put a set of EMGs in one of his Vola guitars, which had 3 single coil pickups, I think, and it was basically like a 2 single coil size ones and a humbucker, and it's great. So, I mean, that will pretty much cover anything that you play, for sure. My suggestion is if you can get one that maybe does the split thing, just in case, do it. But if you're not into that, you just want a humbucker, go for it. Music recommendations for someone who's having a hard time getting into old classic blues, but likes Matt Schofield's anything but time, and is trying to find some great modern approaches to blues. So listen to Chris Kane. Chris Kane is like one of the masters. I mean, there's clips of him and Matt playing live at this place in Tarzana, California, I think it is. It's phenomenal. He's my favorite, like, current blues guy. He's getting old now, but he's still a killer player. Great singer. Sounds like B.B. King with his voice, but he's got all the chops. You know, Guy King's another guy I talk about a lot as well. He's a younger dude who's he plays a mix of stuff. It's not just straight up blues. It's kind of, he can jazz, do the jazz blues thing. He can do all kinds of different stuff. He's a wizard, man. That guy can play so great. That would be two guys I would highly recommend. There's another dude from, I think, Argentina I've been listening to on in some of these live clips as well, because he's playing with Chris Kane and he's awesome. I just can't think of his name. But if you type in like Chris Kane and Matt Schofield, you'll see it come up. And there's this other guy, Artur, I think his name is. He's awesome. He's so good. So yeah, check out those dudes. They're monsters. And nothing wrong with listening to like Eric Clapton, From the Cradle, or that tour from the album. I mean, that stuff is just as good as it gets, I reckon. It's great. All right. Over 5 minutes solo jams are a bit of a bore. Well, it depends who's doing it. That's the way I look at it. That's, there's definitely solos you wish lasted, 24 bars, and then there's great players who can make it sing for ages. Another guy I'd recommend, who he probably overplays a bit for you, but Papa Chubby is fantastic, man. Guys, he's got better flow than Stevie. He just plays, and he's got really interesting stuff. Just impossibly great independence from his vocal to his hands. It's so good. There's a great live show I've been watching from Dave's Place on YouTube. That's where I copied one of my intro tracks from, was one of the riffs out of that. Man, that dude's got a modern twist on blues, and it's just killer. But he can play, like, he does a lot of covers stuff as well, but he's a great songwriter. One of the best Hendrix sort of, he can play the Hendrix thing better than almost anybody. It's really something else. He got two hands, great guitars. That must have been in relation to the which guitar to grab. Yeah, absolutely right. All right, we got, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, from Portugal. Welcome, mate. Thanks for joining in. Over ODR1, TS, Blues Driver, or Blues Breaker, which one would you buy first? Probably a Tube Screamer. The reason why is it's arguably the most versatile. I think they're all pretty good, but a Tube Screamer works great if you already got a bit of dirt in your sound as well. You can use it like a boost. You can do that with the Blues Driver. Blues Driver's a different kind of sound. It's really great for like rhythm guitar, but some people find it a bit bright. I'm one of those kind of guys. I don't dislike the pedals, but I'd choose a Tube Screamer over the Blues Driver or Blues Breaker. Yeah, without question. Without question. Just got a text from a mate of mine. I'll have to get back to him. All right. We've got Aaron K. Welcome, mate. Thanks for joining in. Awesome stuff. GRB Aquatics. Hope you're doing well too. Thanks, mate. I like the, is that a parrotfish? Some sort of fish? Beautiful. 5 a.m. in Chicago. I suppose it's getting kind of cold there, right? It would be getting cold there now. Just as it's starting to warm up, sort of here, it's no doubt snowing somewhere else. That's how it works, right? All right. We got Mark from a cold and rainy. Is that the? Oh, it's hard to see. But anyway, welcome, welcome, mate. All right, Terry T-Rex, 5 a.m. in the USA. So there's a lot of folks here early already. Thanks for joining in, everybody. And if you just joined in as well, I always put all the timestamps in after the fact as well. I'll do that with this one as well. Any good topics or conversation come up, and it's literally a winged live stream. So if anyone has any questions, let us know. I never go in with a plan. I never do a spiel. No, at least not much anyway. I just complain about notifications not working. Here we go. Tom Quayle, Laney Tom Quayle loud pedal for blues sound like a good idea. Yeah, I don't know that, but yeah, the thing with a lot of this gear, right? Like my friend and I were sitting here maybe a month ago going through all these different pedals. We didn't film it or anything. We were just testing stuff out. And it was so funny. Like you get all of these different pedals and you line them up and you tend to try to dial them in the way that you've got the sound in your head. And at the end of the day, they're all pretty similar. So, yeah, you could. The point is, you can probably dial in the blues sound you like with a lot of different effects, including all the ones where I was asked to pick a choice from before. I just think it comes down to the simplicity of how you dial in the sound. And that's why I love the Royal Flush. I can put everything up to 1 o'clock. It's going to sound great. All right, Shane, any guitars that you couldn't bond with for whatever reason? Les Pauls don't work for me. Yeah, I've had a few that I bought and then like almost instantly regretted. There was a gold top Les Paul I had years ago. I had a few of them. The first one was great, and I sold it because I needed the cash. And then I found another one, and it was just awful to play. The neck had this like kind of like strange. It almost looked like that. It was kind of flat, had an angle, and had an angle this way. It wasn't a proper neck profile, and every time I played it, it felt like it was going out of tune. So I'd tune it up, it was fine, or I'd check the tuning, play a D chord, and it felt out all the time. So it had either bad frets, it either had a terrible nut, and it was just a horrible guitar to play. I'm not even sure why I bought it. I might have just bought it because I missed my other one, and it looked cool, but yeah, unfortunately, I never bonded with that. I've had so many guitars over the years that I initially loved and then found something I liked better. But I've never really had, like, with that exception, at least off the top of my head now, I can't think of too many that I've just gone, oh, what have I done? Like, to put it into perspective, even some of the cheaper SX guitars that I owned or my original Gold Series Squire all played better than that Gibson. That was really not very good. And to some extent, the not to brag on Gibson too much, but the original Flying V I had is nowhere near the same instrument as the one I've got now. That one I've got now is way better. So yeah, but I'm sure there's others I'm completely forgetting. I've demoed a lot of guitars I didn't bond with, but I never owned them. So all right, Greg, welcome, mate. Thanks for joining in. I love the OD3 pedal. What do you think? It's crazy underrated. 100%. That thing is great. That pedal's awesome. I had one on my board for a long time. I re-reviewed that maybe... Actually, you know what? I'm not sure how many months ago it was. I filmed a whole bunch of like Boss pedals and just scheduled them out over the course of a few months. And that thing is really good. That's a great first overdrive pedal. It pretty much does everything. It doesn't have the thickest mid boost kind of thing that you like a Tube Screamer, but it's got great gain. It's got like one of the best gain stages of any pedal. 100%. That's really cool. All right. Let me scroll down. Have I seen the new Jack White Fender amp? I have, but not in person. As soon as I can get my hands on that, I'll definitely do a review of it coming up. It probably won't be now until a little bit later on next month if it shows up at the shop. So yeah, we'll see how we go. I'm not crazy about them either. The whole innovation line from their marketing is getting tiring when it's almost the same guitar. Yeah, 100%. You know, like I said this on Instagram the other day. I felt like NAMM is the same thing every year, but with new paint jobs. You know, like it could be guitars or the new pedal has got the slightly more intense CPU or stronger CPU than the last one or whatever. There are some exceptions to that, obviously. I think the pedal industry is innovating far more than a lot of the guitar niches, with a few exceptions, of course, or the guitar companies, I should say, not niches. but yeah, it's an interesting sort of thing. I've just tuned out. I saw a few pop up on my feed. I'm like, I'm not even going to watch those videos. Yeah, it's probably time to take a break from guitar for a while for me, at least producing videos, so I can get some love for the. I'm kind of was more interested in playing for quite a long time now over just waiting for the next thing. I'm happy with my guitars and seeing like the same thing with slide adjustments. There's only so many combinations of this stuff they can do, right? And then they like have to at some point have to vastly change the colors or the finish or make something out of a different material. There's got to be something else that they can do other than just basically making the same guitar every year. That's kind of how it feels. Now, I'm not going to say they're bad guitars because they're not. And same with the prior ones and the ones before that and the ones before that. They're all good. It's just the marketing. It's just, you know, when the Tone Master Pro 2 comes out at some point, like, how much better will it actually be? And two, even if it can handle 10 more effects, who's going to be playing any sort of gig where you're going to have to chain like 30 different effects together? I sort of don't understand it. And that's how the digital sort of industry feels for guitar. You know, like, this is why I bought a Kemper. And that's why I said I bought the Kemper, because it stood the test of time. 14 years it's been out, and they haven't, you know, just rehauled it 10 times like a lot of other companies would have. So I kind of appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. I'm tuning out. I'm absolutely tuning out from it. And next month I'm taking a break. My first break in about a year, like proper detaching from the stuff. I've already scheduled up some videos, but I'm going to enjoy taking some time off, and I'll probably do the same in January. So you'll probably see nothing much going up in January. I'm going to try and do live streams though, so that's what'll be happening at least once a week or once every 7 or 8, 9 days or whatever. But yeah, I just need some time off from all the production stuff. I'm still a one-man show. I know people have other people contribute in terms of editing, and they got thumbnail guys and all that. I don't. So it's time for a break. Been doing this. It's coming up to next year, 11 years full time making videos, and I think it's time to put the brakes on a bit next year. I'm just going to take some time off, reassess what it is I want to do, because again, the landscape of what I'm seeing doesn't feel that interesting to me anymore. What I like are things from different brands and things that are older and things that are just different. So I'm going to try and focus more on that than just chasing the new thing. I sort of doesn't make much difference anymore. I think you can either play to some extent and make something work, or the gear's not going to fix that, right? So that's kind of how I feel about it right now. All right. So if I have, get a chance to go to Jerry's, if he finishes his new shop sometime next year or whatever, that'll be fun, because I get to play all these different things I don't get to play anywhere else. But yeah, I don't know, man. A lot of the stuff I'm seeing is not that interesting, at least when they're big releases. The videos and guitar videos you're going to see coming up are different. So I hope you like those. They're already scheduled. Do I ever mess with old Aussie-made amps? No, not really. I know of a few brands, but I don't really see them that often, other than... Actually, I shouldn't say that. A couple of Guitar Search Saturday episodes we did, I saw a few. I think in Brisbane had a couple. But yeah, I've never really plugged into them. That would be a really cool thing to try at some point. Absolutely. Kat says, good evening from Melbourne. What would you choose between a Roland Blues Cube artist and a Boss Nextone special? Get a Blues Cube. Yeah, if you don't want a USB, I know the Nextones are a bit easier to work than like a Katana when it comes to that stuff, but just get a Blues Cube. Or if you want to save yourself half the amount of money, buy a Peavey Bandit. I think they're a better amp. But I would pick a Blues Cube. If it was me, I'd buy the Blues Cube. I don't want any USB ports on an amp that's loud enough to gig with. Do you think the new Peavey Bandits would hold up as good as the older ones like the Red Stripe in terms of durability? I apologize if the question's been asked before. No, it's all good, man. No, is the quick answer. I've had a friend burn through about 3 of those. So they're not all bad, though. I've had another friend of mine who had one for years without any problem. So I just think if something's been around since the early 2000s or the 90s, arguably they're going to be reliable for a lot longer, right? That's if they're in good nick. And some of the Peavey Bandits even go back to the 80s, like the teal stripe ones. They're still going strong. So they're like 40 years old. um, I I think they should be reliable enough, but they also don't sound as good to my ear. And if you play a higher gain style of music, then they're going to be okay. The clean channels are still pretty good. And I like their like power attenuation, sort of like they got a 3-stage power attenuation switch on the back. So there's some innovation there with that. But yeah, the red stripe ones, they're great. And so are the silver stripe ones too. They got there's something about those that sound better. And I've actually compared them on video too. So I'm not just talking out of my ass. You can probably find that. I just felt like I owned one briefly. I think I sold it to my friend Alex or something like that at the end. But it was, it wasn't to my ear as good as the red stripe one. All right, Greg says, hopefully getting the Artist AS72 tomorrow. Great specs. Awesome stuff, mate. Congrats. I should be doing some more of their stuff, I think, in December. So stay tuned. There'll be more Artist gear going up. All right. I have a red stripe Peavey, but I love the Yamaha G100II 212s as much more. Very cool. Do you know these old solid states? I'm familiar with them. Let's have a quick look here. I'll share it with everybody if it works. I think a shop near where I used to live had a couple of these. Yep. Yeah, it's the one with the lines. I was about to say, is it the one with the lines? It's the one with the lines. All right, let's hope this works. Boom. There we go. So, I've seen these around. I've seen these combos. These are the ones I most find in shops. This guy right here. I need to try one of these at some point. A few people have pointed that out to give one of these a shot. I'd have to just buy one, though. It's not something that I could just borrow from anywhere. But, yeah, very cool. Very cool. Hey, do us a favor, folks. If you can, leave a thumbs up. I appreciate it. It really helps the videos get found, all that kind of stuff. So thank you. All right. Let's go back to chat. Where are we? Just have a quick drink. Improv Guitar Jam says, wondering if you've had a chance to check out a guitar from the brand Soloking. No, I haven't heard of them. Soloking Guitars. Let's have a look here. I laughed because I just the headline. Custom shop inspired guitars. I look like a ripoff of Ibanez, right? Like or Michael Kelly. Like this one here looks like a Michael Kelly guitar. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. I mean, hey, and I'm not saying that to be like they're not good or anything. I'm just saying this is my first glance at these. They look like Ibanez guitars and Michael Kelly guitars, which isn't a bad thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if these might be made potentially at the same factory just based on the finish here. These look really good. I mean, that looks awesome. I like this, the MT1FM. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I don't know anything about this brand. I've never heard of them before. I'll have to look into them, but thanks for the heads up. Let us know what they're like if you've played one before too. All right. Any tips on fast downpicking like James Hetfield? You're on the wrong channel for that, mate. I'm sure there'll be a million great metal rhythm guitar tutorials on YouTube. You just got to sort them out from most, the ones, the good from the bad, basically. So, yeah, look, I love James Hetfield's vocal especially, but his playing's great. But I don't do anything like that. So I'm going to say probably check some metal channel tutorials would be my suggestion. But again, I love Metallica stuff. So, yeah. Come down here near the Bellarine Peninsula, nice and quiet near my place. Oh, that sounds great, man. Yeah, I gotta make a change pretty soon. This has been the worst year for my productivity ever. I'm just finally finding times of the day where I can do stuff and not have to re-record it 10 times. One of the reasons why I use this mic a lot is it doesn't pick up a lot of the noise, and I've got other ways of recording my voice where it's like easier to mask all the background noise. It's frustrating. And more so for my tech channel. Like on the guitar channel, it doesn't matter as much. Not that I don't care, but there's a bit of noise in the room. But when I'm trying to record something, like even do Guitar Search Saturday, if I'm doing like a voiceover, I had to stop that again the other day because it was like, I can't record this and have it sound good in the room. So yeah, it's frustrating. Anyway. All right, we've got BC Rich 581. Welcome, mate. Thanks for joining in. It'd be good if I could talk today. It's been a long day. I got up early and I've been at it today. So anyway. All right, let me just scroll down here, see what we've missed. Keep it simple. Yeah, I think that's the dude's name. I could be wrong, but yeah, that looks close to... I remember his first name, but yeah, great player, man. Look up him and Chris Kane. Awesome stuff. I put a hot rail in my Mustang once. Do you like hot rails? And welcome, mate, if I didn't say hi before. Yeah, look, I'm not really too... I think I've heard pickups of all different descriptions sound great live or, in a recording or whatever. So I've never actually owned a hot rail pickup myself, but yeah, I'd say if it sounds good, it is good, and that's the thing with pickups too. Much like how you might dial in your pedals similarly. If you get a good pickup, you'll dial it in with a tone that works. So I've no problems with that at all. Papa Chubby is a beast. I absolutely agree. I think I'm like right down the chat or right back up here. Let me don't forget Joe Pass playing the blues. That's cool. I don't think I've ever seen him play blues. I'll have to look that up. All right, we got Keys from Cornwell in the UK. He says, "Can I ask your opinion as a lefty, your favorite budget T-style guitar? Is it worth coughing up a bit extra and getting a Fender Player 2? Look, if you aspire to get one of those guitars, save up and get it. The only other one like from that sort of range I would recommend is like the classic vibes, but some people find the necks too sticky. I was one of those guys. I owned one of those guitars, and I think long term you might be better with if you aspire to get like a Telecaster, that's a great place to start. And there's nothing wrong with the previous versions either. So a lot of people, like in any industry, new thing comes out, they might sell their guitar. You might be able to buy a regular Fender Player Telecaster on the used market for a lot less. So don't discount buying used, because so many people hardly touch their guitars, and when they sell them, they're basically a brand new guitar, except you saved yourself the Fender tax. So, oh, sorry, I just moved the oh, sorry guys. There we go. It's back. Yeah, look, if I always say you're better off buying the guitar if you can, save up and get the one you want, because otherwise you buy this one, you buy the next one, then you finally get the one you want. You've spent 3 times as much money. Have I ever received an electric shock from shoddy equipment? A few times on stage. The mic zapped me something shocking. Picked up a cheap TC Cinders pedal. Great for blues. Cool, man. Thanks for the heads up there. I don't know that one. All right. I'll just scroll down here. How's my slide playing? Better than it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when I played no slide. I'm getting a little bit more confident at it. It's not something that I put enough time into, but you might have seen me kind of like contribute a rhythm part to some of my intro jams. If there's probably 15 or 20 different jams where I use a slide. It's always sitting over here because it's yeah, it just adds a different sort of flavor. I don't play lead slide guitar at all, but I know enough to get around the chords now, which was something I couldn't do a while ago. It's a funny thing playing slide because you got to land right on the fret, otherwise it sounds atrocious. My brain sees the fretting like as I play a D chord, sort of like between the frets. When you play slide, you're kind of like on it, which is really hard for me to get my head around. But I'm getting better at it. I'm definitely getting better at it. But I still suck. One more amp, pedal, or guitar. The Tone X1 is nice, but the software is a nightmare at first. Yeah. All right. Notifications didn't work again, but I'm here now. Hey, thanks, mate. Yeah, we spoke about this at the start. If you've just joined in, folks, I won't reiterate it too many times, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Untick the bell and try again. Or unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell. John did that earlier, and it worked. Excuse me. So give that a shot. And supposedly that fixes that now. I actually contacted YouTube about it as well. All right. What kind of videos can we expect to see in the last weeks of 2024? So I've got November almost fully scheduled. I'm away for about 10 days. So I'll share with you guys a quick video about that while I'm over there. And December isn't completely... December's pretty much wide open. I think this will be the last year that I try and post as much as I do towards the end of the year for a while. I do have a lot of shorts videos, you know, those vertical ones. I found a lot of cool stuff I did at Jerry's years ago, Jerry's Lefty Guitars. Stuff that most people didn't see because those videos are so old. I found some guitars I played and I forgot I played, and I put together some really cool like short videos. There's also some, I just want to try something different. So I was like, all right, let's try repurposing some content, doing some Q&A stuff. And yeah, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try something a bit different this year. I don't think I've got the capacity now to do 30 videos again in December. It's probably not going to happen as a one-man show, but yeah, I'm going to try and at least do my end-of-year wrap-up video at some point. That's always a fun one where I talk about like the best and worst gear of the year, the most divisive, all that sort of stuff, and then all the chumps can rip that off again this year. But you know, it is what it is. Okay. But anyway, yeah, look, I haven't really scheduled in December yet. There are some ones on my list that I need to shoot. I do have, as I mentioned, all the short videos already scheduled for pretty much the rest of the year, starting at the end of this month. No Halloween video this year, unfortunately. Next year, it's back. All right. Ever played a tube amp that you didn't need pedals to get your sound? The Marshall DSL 40. That's the amp. The Mesa Boogie or Mesa Boogie Studio 22, killer. The Fillmore 50 from Boogie's pretty great as well. That's pretty great. The Traynor YCV40 is another one. The Crate V30 is definitely another one. That they're great. They're so hard to find. The Peavey Classic 50 410s, absolutely awesome. No pedals required, but you can of course use them. I would even argue the Peavey Bandit, the red stripe, but to get the sound I love, I changed the speaker. They're the ones I would recommend. And one of the Two Rock amps, the Studio 22 was pretty great, but I still did use pedals into the front end of that when I had it for about a year and a half. You can only innovate so much before you piss off guitarists and who complained the guitars weren't innovative enough in the first place. I'd hate to be the one responsible for keeping guitarists happy. Yeah, it's just, I mean, how far can you really take them, you know? Like, where else are they going to go? I think the biggest innovations have been like the quick pickup swaps or, you know, things like that, or ones made out of different materials that are completely different. That's why I want to showcase that Pearson guitar, because it was completely different cosmetically and physically. Like, it was a completely different guitar. Those kind of things are really innovative. Fender re-releasing a Strat, it's not high on the list for, I think everyone's starting to tune out. It feels a bit like that this year, more so than ever. It really does. I know that people have been posting videos about it. I've been saying for years, like, Nam, it's the same thing every year, but with a new paint job. It's sort of, that's how it kind of feels. And that's not to say like every brand's doing that, right? It's just that's the popular stuff is very similar a lot of the time. Like the same old thing with Gibson, same old guitars the next year, and we need another 58 reissue the following year. It's like, come on, man, how many of these do we need? It is what it is. That's how they keep it going, right? They just have to keep pumping stuff out to keep people interested. That's why pedal companies have runs of stuff. They'll do stuff for like a couple of years at the most, and then there's another thing out just to keep the name in the minds of customers. And yeah, and it's basically you see it all the time. That's the other reason why I need a break. To be fair, the Tone Master range was pretty killer. I gigged with a Tone Master Princeton for about a year before I finally got myself a nice vintage 65 Deluxe reverb. Well, there you go. I mean, I'll give Fender credit in a couple of ways, right? They did innovate the original Fender Mustang version 2. Those ones were great. They were the best digital modeling amps you could buy. And the Tone Masters are innovative. It's something different. And I completely agree with you. But you ended up with a 65 Deluxe. You can't go too far wrong with that either. But yeah, I gigged with one of those Tone Master Princetons as well. It was good fun. Range, yeah, exactly. All right. Got a really dry mouth tonight, by the way. Sorry if I'm talking a bit funny. Got to learn not to eat ridiculously hot stuff. All right. Let's. Sorry, I'll take this one. I have an old Silver Stripe Studio Pro. Can you suggest a replacement speaker? So one of my friends has put I love you, the hand picture here, man. Something's messing with my mind. My friend's he's got that exact amp, and he put a WGS ET65 in there, and it sounded surprisingly great. Usually, like, I wouldn't recommend that speaker for Peavey Bandits, but in the Studio Pro, it cooks. And another mate of mine who I gave that Red Stripe Studio Pro to, he put one in, and it sounds great. So give it a go. I think that would be the way to go. If you want something with to sort of tame the top end and give you a much fatter sound, try the Texas Heat. The Texas Heat from Eminence is my favorite speaker for the Bandit, and that would work also very well in the Studio Pro. But now I know two friends who have got those amps with WGS ET65s, or even the ET75, whatever the larger one is. All right, I'll just take the super chat here, and then we'll go back to the questions. Thanks, Kira and Gina. I appreciate that. Finally caught a live. Love your channel. Best wishes to you. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for the support. Thanks for joining in, and thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Shane Walton says, "I want to be your victim in your Halloween video." Well, that'd be awesome, man. We need to extend the cast next time. There's only been 2 of us in the video, so I might have to get Rick in as well. That'd be hilarious. All right, Heidi, welcome. Hope you're doing well. She says, "Hope you find time for those blues tips and tricks, Shane." Yeah, that's, I'm usually pretty good at getting things done that I want to get done. And I filmed 40 or basically like 30 licks. I filmed them all, not like professionally or whatever, just using the webcam on the camera. I'm like, these are the licks I want to share with everybody. And then I never redid it properly. It's like, that's one thing I really regret not getting done this year. Anyway, it will happen at some point. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Hey, Greg's Kitchen's here. Welcome, mate. He says, "I just picked up a new second-hand Takamine electric acoustic for cheap. Plays beautifully." I mean, they're great guitars. You can't go wrong with the Takamine stuff. Awesome. All right. Oh, he says, "Do you play acoustic? I haven't seen you play one." I used to do a bit of that back in the day. Like, I used to play live with acoustic guitars. Never on as like a solo player or anything like that, but I just sort of went off it over the years. I don't know what it is. I just never enjoyed the expressiveness or the sound as much as I've always enjoyed electric guitar. You know, you tend to play a lot of the stuff you listen to, and for me, it was always like electric blues kind of ignited the flame of electric guitar for me. So that was the thing that always caught my ear. So I don't really play much of it anymore. Occasionally, I'll do a guitar review for some business, and I'll break out my I'll break out my 10 different tricks on acoustic guitar. But yeah, I'd like to be better at it, but I also know I've owned and sold so many acoustic guitars, and I haven't had an acoustic at the house now for probably, how long's it been? The Epiphone was my last one, so probably 5 years, maybe a little bit less, but I haven't missed it. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy listening to some acoustic music or players and all that kind of thing, but yeah, I'm more of an electric guitar head. I definitely, you know, I've just been like binge listening to just Dire Straits from back in the day again, getting that sort of getting fired up about electric guitar once again. Have you seen the new Mystic finish from Ernie Balls, a Cutlass? Oh, okay, no, I haven't. Let's have a look. I'll share this with everybody once my computer decides it wants to work. Ernie Ball Mystique finish. What's the... Oh, it's Cutlass, you said, right? Let's have a look. Come on, computer. Will it work? No, it won't. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, it's working. Let me... Oh, come on, website. Really? Let's share this. Boom. Looks good. Looks really good. So we've got... it's like almost like a slightly lighter than emerald green, but with the sparkle. Ernie Ball guitars are great, man. The Musicman guitars are great. You know, they look a little small when you see them on, compared to a Strat on people playing live and all that kind of thing. But man, nothing wrong with them. I mean, that looks great. The Nightcrawler color is basically black by the looks of it. Golden Delicious and Dark Rainbow. Cool. Yeah, the Mystique looks good. Something different too. Like visually, it's different. It's kind of this is more interesting to me than like another Strat. Like this is great. My friend Brian plays I mean, he's a wizard on guitar, but he plays a Musicman occasionally. It's one of his best tones. He can dive bomb. It stays in tune. Killer. All right. Let's go back to the chat. Sorry if I've missed your question, please try it again in the chat. I did the whole thing just sort of scrolled up a little bit ago. Where are we? All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to not go back too far. All right. So Sassy Cat celebrates 17 months of membership. Far out. Thank you for the support. That's crazy. And I do appreciate it. Thank you. I'm jonesing for the new Meteora and Panoverb, like my Iggy Burst victory. I don't know what that is. It sounds familiar, but Panoverb. What's the Panoverb? Oh, the Jack. Oh, hang on. Sorry, not. That's the amp, right? What am I talking about? What was the other thing you mentioned? Sorry. Oh no. Goodbye. Sorry. This my desktop's a mess when I do this. There's screens everywhere. Stuff goes missing. What's the Meteora? That's what I was looking up. Meteora. Oh, yeah, I don't know what that is. Just let us know. Sorry, mate. You've caught me off guard with that one. I don't know what that is. All right, we've got James. Welcome, mate. If I didn't say hi before. All right. G'day, trendsetters. Thank you for joining in, everybody. I appreciate it. We've got Kung Pao, not the other one that we know. It's his first time live chat. long overdue. Thank you for turning me on to Jerry's Lefty Guitars. Hey, you're welcome, mate. Jerry's an awesome dude. He's such a gentleman. He's an absolute dude. So, yeah, I'm glad you found, hopefully, some stuff you like there. His shop's always blows my mind going in there. I've been in there quite a few times over the last sort of 10 years or so, and I walk in and I go, I can play every guitar in the shop. How weird is that? Instead of just scanning for the one on the wall. So, yeah, man. I might be going back next year. If all goes well, that's definitely on the cards. Once he sets up and he's ready to go. I won't be putting any pressure on him for that. But, yeah, hopefully he's opened again in the next few months. It's always fun for me to do that because it's a bit of a unique experience. It's not just like I'm doing what I do, but somewhere else, which is fun. But then I get to play all this stuff that's in the place I'm filming. I don't have to go get it, bring it back to the house and drive it back and all that kind of stuff. It's so good. It's just a cool experience. All right. Hey, Shane. Dave here, fellow lefty. I've had an original 50 Strat like yours. Mine weighs only 6.2 pounds. It's good. I've tried many pickups in mine, but I went back to the 59s. Yeah, I've still got my original pickups. They'll no doubt find a home at some point again in there. But, yeah, I ended up doing this. I put my lace sensors back in. I took the Fender... Is that the focus? There we go. I took the Fender noiseless pickups out that I scored. I also had a question for anyone who's like a bit of a tech head. And by the way, the 59 pickups in this guitar, there's nothing wrong with them. I just wanted a little bit less buzz. So that's what it came down to for me. But I changed this volume pot. And it's exactly the same wiring as before. But now when I turn the volume pot down all the way off, it hums. If I bring it up a hair, it doesn't buzz. It's so weird. I thought I had an earthing problem. So I reattached the... I usually have the plate on, but I thought I've been fiddling around with this guitar a lot that it could just be the earthing thing back here because it's making a bit of a strange earthing sound too. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened with that, but yeah, I'm back to the lace sensors. I need to do some debugging. All right. Someone said, "Oh, have I played a lag electric guitar?" I think they stopped making them. Yeah, look, I played some lag acoustic guitars. They're actually quite good for their price. I remember they were like affordable and pretty nice. I don't remember what that stands for either. But yeah, I think it was it's called like Melbourne Music Centre, I think, had them. I did a Guitar Search Saturday episode there. Excuse me, they were pretty good. But yeah, I don't know if I've actually played any electric guitars. I may have seen them in that shop, but I only remember their acoustics. All right. Got lucky with my Sterling Musicman Sub Solo 3. Amazing guitar. And an asymmetrical neck is the most comfortable neck I've played. Very cool. Yeah, they're great guitars, man. Like I said, actually, I think it was when we were in Germany, we went to a place called Pro Audio Tools in Munich. And they're the biggest seller of Musicman guitars in the world. Or in the Southern Hemisphere or something like that. They had like 70 in there. It was crazy. If you're a big fan of Musicman guitars, I'll link down to the Guitar Search Saturday after this, and you can check it out. Because, yeah, that shop was wild, and Dr. Rick got to play some, and yeah, just great tones, man. That great guitars. I picked up the last Gretsch 5622 with the white blue skunk stripes from his limited order. Oh, cool, man. Very nice. Named her Shelby. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Oh, that's great. Actually, speaking of Gretsch guitars, one of the next videos you'll see is a Gretsch guitar. Yeah, Jerry's got some great Gretsch. Oh, did it again. Sorry about the comments. If I hit a button on my... Oh, it's gone. Hang on, let's try this again. This is crazy. There it is. If I hit the middle button or the middle wheel thing, or where it would normally be on my mouse, it does that, which is not good. You need to be able to lock this stuff, but it is what it is. So congrats, mate. That's awesome. I have four. This is from Ames. Welcome. He says, I have four guitars, but no Strat. What do you recommend? SSS or HSS? Look, they're both fine. I think if you want the classic Strat thing, go for the classic Strat thing and do it. If you're more of a rocker, get a bridge humbucker pickup. You're gonna be sorted. If you're a blues guy or whatever, or even classic rock stuff as well, the single coil bridge pickup is pretty cool. There's also a lot of single coil sized humbuckers you can put into these positions as well. So keep that in mind if you're sort of on the fence. It's easier to do that than order a new pick guard and do all that kind of stuff, unless you're happy doing that as well. All right. Hey, super chat from Sassy Cat. Hey, thank you. Meteora is the new Fender guitar. Ah, okay. Sorry about that. The Panaverb is the new Jack White Fender amp. Yeah, I've seen that. Sorry, we were talking about that before. I think I got confused because I saw both of those together. And I was like, hang on, what is that? The Iggy Burst is the recently released Gibson Victory. Cool. Well, thanks for that. Yeah, like I said at the start of the stream, a little bit out of touch with the new Fender stuff. I sort of switched off a little bit. I knew the amp. The amp looks awesome. It's like a stereo amp with one speaker smaller than the other and all that. I love the idea of that. As soon as I get to try one, if the shop gets one, I'll borrow it from them and shoot a vid. Let's have a look at this. Meteora. Want to make sure here. Ah, okay. Cool. Let me share this with everybody. Here we go. Yeah. Let's do this. And thank you for the super chat as well, mate, and for all the support here. And there it is. Cool. Yeah, something a little bit different. So these actually look kind of cool. They've got like a 70s kind of thing going on. Very yeah, sort of like it sort of reminds me a little bit of like a Explorer, a Gibson Explorer kinda, right? But way more modern looking. I dig it. Cool. Well done, man. That's awesome. And thank you again. All right. Oh, you said you might be looking for one, right? But either way, if you get it, congrats. That's cool. All right. I have a question about one of your products you reviewed, Joyo Bantamp and Bandcab. How happy are you with both of them? Sorry. The reason I struggle sometimes, the comments that I read are on the left, and then when I put them on the screen, they're easier to read. All right, let's start again. I have a question about one of the products you reviewed, the Joyo Bantamp and Bandcab. How happy are you with both of those? And yeah, so the cabinet's not great. I've never been a big fan of the actual cab, but the amps are awesome. If you pair like any of those, I've still got the Tweedy, the Jackman 2, and the Zombie 2. So I've got the latest editions of them. I did sell the cab. I didn't really like it because I've got other stuff I can use, but they're really good. Like you compare that with like a proper Marshall cab, it's going to sound killer. Or even a Harley Benton cab or any sort of like affordable Celestion 7080 cab, it's going to sound great. So I would recommend using those amps with a better cabinet if you plan on getting the best kind of sound. The speaker makes a huge difference, but those amps are great. I would just say you'd be better off buying a third-party cabinet. Get a 12-inch closed back cab or an open back cab. I prefer open backs, but the closed backs will be fine too. If that's all you can find, it's going to sound way better and bigger. So no smaller than 10-inch speaker, no bigger than 12, and you should be sorted, like a single 12. Of course, you can power a 2x12 if you can make some noise, but, you know, just if you need to keep the price down, the single 10s or 12s would be the way to go. Okay. Hey, Will, welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining back in. What's everyone's opinion about the new Pacificas? I'm trying to decide between FGN and Yamaha. I'll leave that to the chat. I mean, I saw a whole bunch of those FGN guitars while I was away a little while back. but I've never actually played one, so yeah. Hey, I fluked it. That's awesome. 73 folks with 57. Welcome, Jamal. He says, keep it up, everybody. Hey, thanks everybody for the support. I know I'm a bit dopey tonight. I'm a little on the tired side, but trying my best. Thank you again. All right. Soloking has a clone that looks and sounds close. Unabashed knockoffs. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I was getting. They did look very similar to the Ibanez and many other guitars. Yeah, like the RG and so forth. Jamal says, do you have a particular place or person that services your amplifiers like your Blues Deluxe? I do. I mean, not like a personal friend or anything, but the guy I go to in Melbourne is pretty much renowned as like the best tech in the eastern suburbs, which is where I live. And his name's Tim Evans. He's great. And I don't think he'll mind me plugging his business. Guy's a wizard. He gets it fixed and he does a great job. And nearly everybody I know that lives anywhere near that side of town go to him. He's the best. There used to be another place in the sort of a little bit north of where I used to live that was also very good, but I think the guy left or they closed down or something like that. But yeah, I just usually take it to somewhere like you'll find a lot of, well, it's probably different in the US, but word of mouth is just like awesome. So yeah, if you can talk to anyone who's had an amp repaired somewhere in your area, or even go into one of the guitar shops and ask around, because yeah, they should be able to point you to a good tech, because they'll no doubt sell brands that get come back and get repaired from a local tech, and that's how I found this guy. I just got a JC40 after watching your solid state videos. Great amp, but it gets really loud. Yeah, damn straight it gets loud. It's JC40. It ain't a piece of junk. But the good news is it's solid state, right? So you can still get a pretty great sound with it at lower volumes. That's one of the cool things about it. The drive channel probably not so much, but the beauty of solid state amps is the fact you can turn them down and still get a pretty full sound. Unlike valve amps where they kind of like conk out when you have them too low. So yeah, so they're great. I gig with one of those in San Francisco. It's awesome. I've been given an old Saxon SG copy with a Bigsby copy trem on it. Looking forward to doing it up. Very cool. I don't really know the Saxon brand, but that's awesome. Got my Joyo Jam Buddy amp out for the first time in a few years. Wow, that thing rocks. So cool. Had great fun. It's an awesome amp. Actually, someone emailed me about buying like, I reviewed one from Kalen, essentially the same thing. I think it got like discontinued at launch or something. I don't know what happened to that amp. But I said, just buy the Joyo Jam Buddy. I still got mine. I love it. I did have another one at one point, which I think I sold to somebody. But yeah, just absolutely great practice tools. Like you plonk them on the desk, put them on the floor. They look like a pedal with a speaker built into them. Clean channel, crunch channel, high gain channel, and what else has it got? Analog delay, and you can also send music to it to jam to, and it's awesome. It's really cool. One of the best sort of like practice tools. It stops you from fiddling around. Like, oh, I need to dial in. No, that's what you get. Practice. It's great. Yeah, clean dry. Yeah, there you go. Yep. All right. My Joyo Blue Jay through 12-inch 7080 cab is plenty loud and it sounds great. Nice chimey tones and takes pedals well. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's a really cool amp. I think they're more than loud enough to do like small shows with. If you, again, match it with a cab like that, you're laughing. So that's awesome. Okay. Mike says 6 a.m. in Texas. Morning. Welcome, man. Thanks for joining in. Or howdy. Every time I think of Texas, well, there's a few people I think of, but King of the Hill, one of my favorite shows of all time, one of the best animated shows ever. It's awesome. I have a co-worker who is obsessed with amps. I should probably ask him. I love my Marshall Vintage Modern, and I want to keep it running for as long as possible. Yeah, the good news is with good quality amps like that, the worst thing that's going to probably happen is, unless they don't get used for a long time, is you just need to replace the tubes. It's not something you really need to do unless it's not sounding right. That's the beauty of these amps. Like my Fender Blues Deluxe back here has never been serviced. That's the like it keeps going. I don't know how, but I'm gonna, if something weird happens or starts to happen, other than actually, I do have a video coming up about the reverb tank. It was starting to go a bit dodgy, but otherwise, yeah, they'll last forever, man. Like my friend Dave, who's got plenty of vintage amps, a lot of them still work fine too. But yeah, just go into a shop, ask where they have their stuff repaired, and that should be a good indication of who they go to, or who you should go to as well. I'm a disabled person, so I'm pretty much locked down to 1/8 because of my weight limitation. Okay. I tell you what, there's plenty of what they call neodymium speakers, which are very light. And if you pair that with like a light cab, it's still going to sound great, but it will be a better sound. The 8-inch, look at the 8-inch cab of the Bantamp. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but it's definitely not the best. And I tell you what, Custom, there's a brand called Custom with a K. They make a super light, like I can pick it up with one finger kind of light, a 12-inch speaker cabinet. I actually reviewed it a little while ago. You could pair that with the Joyo amp, and that would be infinitely better. And just in terms of you want a sound that you can work with to some extent. And if you're looking for light, that would be my recommendation. It's a really good quality speaker cab. Just double check that the ohms, the OHM on the back matches the amp. I can't remember off the top of my head. Usually it's been a while since I've sort of like, yeah, 16 or 8. I can't remember, but just definitely check that out. Have I played any Ibanez Blazers or Roadsters? I have a few of them and love them. Let's have a look here. I'm not, like, my memory for Ibanez stuff isn't as good as probably could be. Blazer. No. Oh, actually, you know what? I reviewed a Ibanez recently. Oh, you guys can't see this, can you? Hang on, sorry. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, let's try this again. So that's coming up with the Blazers, which is cool. Oh, look at that. I can kind of move things around. Yeah, so the review I did recently was the... What was it? I can't remember. The problem with Ibanez, right? The only problem is their naming convention. Like, who comes up with this stuff? What was it called? So I've tried a few. I've tried the Ibanez Prestige, which was one of the best guitars of the year for me 4 years ago. That was the AZ 2402. Unbelievable. I tried one of those. I think the guitars that the Japanese dudes involved in it from Berkeley Music School. Ibanez in the Blues. I can't find it in my search. So obviously so I've tried the AF55, which was like an arch top, and that was 6 months ago. And 2 months ago, I reviewed the AZE S40, which was awesome. But I think your question was, have I played these ones? I don't think I have, unfortunately. Sorry, mate. But they make good stuff. I don't think you can go too far wrong with an Ibanez guitar. That one I was talking about before, the what was it? The AZ2402. Like, unbelievable guitar. That thing, I was so close to buying that. I didn't, because yeah, probably should have, man. It was bloody good. It's a little bit out of my price range at the time. All right. Biggest problem with 8-inch combos is the lack of 8-inch speakers, not cab options. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Like You can find like super reverb replacement speakers and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, they're probably just not going to sound as good, right? Like, or you're not going to have as big, yeah, like you said, as big of a range. I just think a 10-inch speaker would be a neodymium 10-inch speaker would be a better choice for the other guy in a lighter cab. That would definitely be the way to go. Um, yeah, it gives you more versatility for replacement speakers, as you mentioned. Um, Aim says, "Hi Shane, this is just a hobby for me, so it's not serious. But how should I deal with bandmates, jam buddies who show up but not ready for practice? I'm in Japan, so English-speaking players are hard to find. But how should I deal with bandmates who show up not ready for practice?" So you're saying they're turning up to rehearsals and they're what are they doing? Like I need a bit more information on this. This is a tricky question. Jam buddies who show up, who show up not ready for practice. So you mean like they've not worked on anything? So they're using the rehearsal time as their practice time. Find someone else. Is my, I gigged for like 15 years with good musos, and I think we rehearsed like maybe 4 times total because everyone knew their stuff. I'd be like, these are the songs we're playing. Here's a recording of it. Learn it. And no, not with that aggressive tone, obviously, but I played with guys who made that whole process easy. It's like, here's the songs. Like, just find something that works. Look, if you're playing like super complex stuff and no one, people are showing up and they haven't worked on it, I would be more inclined to find somebody else. But I get it if yeah, the language barrier is a thing. So, man, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to deal with that. I don't. That sounds pretty tricky. You can either be patient and just sort of say, look, it'd be great if you could learn this in your own time, and then when we practice, we're actually playing the song because you're not there for someone else's practice session. You're there to work on the stuff, and that should be pretty clear. I think less experienced musicians, or they call them like weekend warriors or whatever, their rehearsal is them practicing the song for the first time. Yeah, so that could be really frustrating. If that's not what you mean, I apologize, but I've tried my best to answer that one. Fender Champ is an 8-inch speaker. I believe it is. You're right. And they're a great little amp. They're super cool. I wish they had reverb. If they had reverb, that'd be awesome. Fast Eddie, I love your name. He says, I love the 1996 I love my 1996 Fender Mexican Stratocaster. Excuse me, through my Blues Junior. I've had it for about 25 years. Very cool. Go through my Marshall triple super lead. Sweet. Oh, that's great, man. Yeah. This is what I was trying to say earlier too, right? 1996 Strat. It's still a great guitar. So, yeah, rather than everyone buying the latest and greatest stuff, check the used market. It's a smart thing to do these days. Hey, we've got Addicted to Gear here. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. This is Tony. He's saying hi to John. Awesome stuff. Thanks for joining in, mate. I need to catch up on your videos. I've been really slack. I think your live streams, again, are at a pretty tough time for me. But, yeah, I need to just stay up one night and join in. When I do the Hendrix stuff, it sings very cool. Fast Eddie's from Eddie Felson, right? Is that the nickname, or is your name Eddie? And that's the nickname. Anyway, if you know the movie, you'll know the reference. You're gonna try the Royal Reverb again? I don't think so. At least not in the short term. That was a great amp. I'd love to re-review those. Unfortunately, I don't live anywhere near where that shop was, where I got a chance to test them. So, as of right now, no. But if I get a chance to, yes. There's definitely a whole bunch of stuff I'd love to try, but I want to be able to do it just by, like, I want the process to be easy. If it's available to borrow from anywhere, a friend or a shop or whatever, then 100%. But if it's me having to email companies and all, I don't want to do any more of that. I'm kind of done. But yeah, I'd love to. Or if I travel somewhere and they let me shoot a guitar set Saturday and it's sitting there, I'll definitely give it a go. All right. Yeah, practice at home, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Rehearsals over, let's play, man. Go out and play. That's it. Yeah, rehearsals are okay if you got a good gig, you haven't played together for a long time, and you want to make it great. But you play them if you play like I know not everybody's in a situation, but we did a gig a couple of what was it, a month ago maybe, and we didn't rehearse. The guys knew the stuff, and I guess the band's lucky enough to be we know our parts. We know, yeah. Brian compliments what I do. He does his own thing. I let him go, and everybody knows musically where to sit and how to respond, and that's the magic. Rehearsals aren't really going to teach you that. It teaches you if you got a new drummer and he's doing an important gig, it's probably worth potentially having a rehearsal, right? But if you're playing with good players, you just don't need to. Like we hadn't done a gig for a year almost, and it was like we were playing like every week together. So it's weird how that happens. It's sort of rehearsals. I know bands that used to rehearse every weekend, and they never really got any better. It's like it turns it almost limits your what's the word I'm looking for? Like it sort of removes the joy. No, maybe not the joy out of it a bit, but I don't know. If you're playing blues and you're rehearsing, the part that makes the blues great is the improvisation part and the dynamics and all that kind of stuff. And if you're just going through the motions, it sort of like defeats the purpose. But all music styles are different. Different. If I was doing a cover band gig, which I've done with a wedding band at one point, then I rehearsed for that because it was all new to me. But I actually spent time learning the stuff at home. So that's kind of like a given for most musos. If you get together once before a gig, everyone should have a pretty good understanding of what's going on. It shouldn't just be all new. So yeah. Dan says, "Hey Shane, you have 3 pedals for a gig tomorrow. Choose 1 drive, 1 delay, 1 modulation. Royal Flush from VS Audio. I'm taking the Tille delay pedal from Cutlass Audio Works, and I'm taking the VS Audio Vibler. And you can call me a Greek pedal shill if you want. They just make the best stuff in the world." Yeah, it's what's on my pedal board. Or I might put a clon on there depending on the amp. But yeah, Royal Flush is still my favorite overdrive. It's awesome. All right, SB saying hi to Tony. Guys, if you don't know Tony's channel, go show him some love. Go subscribe. It's Addicted to Gears channel. Let me bring it up. This dude right here, rocking out. This was Tony back in the day when he had long hair, like me. All right. I might have to, how long oh, we're already over an hour. Far out. All right. Well, I can either grab a drink and come back and maybe go somewhere else for a minute, or we can wrap it up. So I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. There's 70 people watching, so I might hang around for a bit longer. Let me mute the audio here, and then I'll come back. Give me 1 minute. I only need a minute, I reckon. So I'll be right back. All right, we are back. Or at least I am. Sorry about that, folks. Call of the Wild. No, that's not the right one. Call of Nature. Is that the same thing? I don't know. Anyway, I'm back. Hey, DMS is here. Welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. All right, we've got Quicksilver here as well. Wrap it up. Yeah, I'm probably... All right, let's do it. No, hang on. I just want to make sure I've got to everybody's questions here. All right, the audio's on. Audio is on. We are good to go. Quicksilver says, "What's up, Shane?" Oh, that's to the other Shane. Sorry. Very cool. Oh, that's me moving the chat around. I've got to find how to lock that. All right, let's have a look here. Dougal says, "I play covers and original rock songs. Rehearsals was definitely required to get things tight." Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Look, I think the other guy was saying, like, people are showing up to rehearsals without actually, like, spending time with the music and learning the stuff. And that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. All right. Bio break. I like that. That's great. Got a few bottles of water here. Got a Pepsi Max. And yeah, I knew that would happen after about an hour. Thanks for that, mate. I appreciate it. What are we up to? We got 70 thumbs up. Oh, no, we got 83 thumbs up. That's awesome. That's actually more than the people watching. So people thumbed up and left. Oh, that's cool. 8 p.m. in Japan. Awesome. Man, Japan's so good. Let's see if I've got anything I can share with you from Japan. I went to Japan a little while back. It was in June. I'm just trying to see if I've got that hard drive here. I don't think I do. I might share some of that stuff with you coming up, because I've actually been to some cool places over the last few years. But yeah, Japan was like stunning. It was amazing. The culture there is great. Just completely different to here, especially. But just so many nice folks, and no one's pushy, and it's really something special. It's clean, it's tidy. You know, people in their later years are riding around on bikes and don't have to worry about getting mugged or getting hit by cars, or people, old ladies and men, they sort of ride their bikes to the park, and they're working on the gardens. And I was like, man, this is so good. Like, what happened to that? It used to be a bit like that here. It's sort of, all of that's gone now. Yeah, it's just too many crazies. I was going to ask you where the Pepsi Max was. There it is. We're sponsored by Pepsi over here, folks. No, we're not. I wish. Anyone gets me a Pepsi endorsement, I'll give you 35%. No, that's all right. All right, we got Back to Space from Germany. Another one of my favorite places. Germany's another beautiful place, man. That was I haven't been there since 2018, but yeah, it was just beautiful, man. Europe and Scandinavia and Japan, and man, so many nice places around there. Really is. Sushi's great. Yeah, the food there is great, but I was just like blown away by like how respectful everyone is of everyone else. It's like a completely, and how clean. Obviously, I said that a few times before, but the place was so clean, and it's affordable compared to here too. Like, we stayed in a hotel that I thought was going to be way more expensive, and it was fine. And it was like, oh, it's pretty good, and all the food, drinks, bottles of water, everything's cheaper compared to, I mean, Australia's expensive, but I didn't expect Japan to be cheaper than here for some reason, but it was. It was great. All right, John says, Shane, you reviewed the Artist Guitars White Relic Tele with Ben. They have a non-relic green lefty version of it up for pre-order. Small batch ships April, and only 5 left. Should I? I tell you what, mate, that guitar's great. I might actually be buying one of those as a project guitar at some point, but it was the lightest Tele we've played. The pickups were pretty decent as well. Like, they were very steely sounding in a good way. Yeah, and if I don't think you're into the Relic thing, right? I could be wrong, but they might be one of the best, like, not to sell it to you or anything, but they might be one of the best affordable Teles, like, from any brand. Like, that one Ben played was friggin' awesome. I picked it up. I was in shock how good it was for its price, especially, and stainless steel frets too. I mean, that's killer. I guess the good thing with artist guitars is, as you probably know, if you don't like it, you can ship it back, get your money back. So, mate, have a think about it. I'm under the impression that there should be more lefties coming to the house before the end of the year. So that's all I can say. So, yeah, if I get a chance to try one of those, mate, I can't wait, because that was a really great guitar. Ben hadn't seen artist guitars for years, and he was like, man, these have come so far. That other dual humbucker one was really nice. That was super cool. Looking forward to the Gretsch review, Shane. He turned me onto them years back when he reviewed the Electromatic Jet. Probably one of the best affordable guitars I've gotten. Oh, thanks, mate. And yeah, great guitars. Gretsch stuff it's kind of fun. It's a little bit different. I like their pickups and their style and the classic look. It's super cool. So thanks, man. I fell in love with Poland a few years ago. Headed back there after headed back there after New Year, and I'm super excited. Well done, mate. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to one of my favorite places next month for 10 days. It's not going to be necessarily like a content creators kind of trip or anything like that. I actually want to just get some time away from here. Not YouTube, just the house, and get out and get some sun. It's been a long winter. It's been windy. Anyone who lives in Melbourne knows how windy it's been here. It's just kind of sucked. So, yeah, we booked a quick getaway, and I'll share some photos, and maybe if I can do a live stream from there, I will. We'll see how we go. But yeah, there's so many nice places, man. Like, Denmark and Sweden are right up there too for me. Though, like, those places are just beautiful. Again, this is when I went back, quite a few years ago. All right. Poland is very cool, nice place to see. Is it Krakow? Is that how you pronounce it? Is obvious, but you head over north of. I don't know how to say that. That's how you trip me up with my uncultured incompetence when it comes to pronouncing some of these places. Yeah, next year I want to do something different as well. Like, as I was talking about earlier, I kind of tuned out from a lot of the gear, not only the gear review channels, but also from, like, being that interested in seeing, like, what the new stuff is. I just don't really care that much anymore. It just feels like too much of the same stuff every year, and I've been doing this for like 11 years full time. So next year I want to actually do something very different. I'm still planning it. It might be around June. I want to try and just change things up again and see how we go, because yeah, I don't want to do another full year of just gear review videos. I know it's an easy way to keep the channel moving, but kind of getting bored. So I think next year will be, hopefully, well, actually, it'll be starting before that, but I'm definitely going to be diversifying the content up. Even if it doesn't get as many views or it's not as popular or whatever, it's time for change. And it means just giving something else a shot. I've been fortunate enough to keep the channel pretty active for, over 10 years full time. Only in the last sort of year and a half, 2 years, it's sort of dipped in views. But I still get quality views. There's like 700,000 views a month that are still, of actual regular videos. I don't necessarily just upload. Like, I know a lot of people get a lot of views on those vertical videos. Doesn't really translate to anything. Although I will be trying that coming up a little bit more. Yeah, it's time for a change. I really feel like it. I don't want to just keep doing the same thing. So stay with me, because I think some of this stuff will be hopefully fun, but it will also be a little bit different. I've always tried to pride myself on doing other things, and then, you know, a lot of other channels will do similar things, and it's just time to mix things up to keep me going. So yeah. And this won't take away from actual still doing similar review videos, but I'm going to be way more choosy with it. I'm already way more choosy with it. And yeah, it's about sort of showcasing some different and unique things now for me that kind of keeps the fun in it. You know, if I just had to go through and review like 7 guitars that are essentially the same, it's not that exciting, right? So yeah, we'll see how we go. If it makes you happy and it's not your primary job, it's a good way to go. Well, that's it. I mean, YouTube's a big part of what I do online. I do a few things online, but this is obviously kind of like the backbone of a lot of it. It's just been going for a long time, and I don't really want to like have someone help. Like, that's just another nightmare, especially in Australia. Like, finding help and then dealing with all that stuff. It's a bit of a nightmare. They don't really favour small businesses in Australia, and I don't really want it to make it more complicated. It's just more stuff to look after. So yeah, I kind of like doing it, you know, in my own time, but I also want to spend a bit more time doing other things and focusing on different stuff next year a little bit. So yeah, it won't be like wrapping up or anything, but I definitely want to take some time to think about how can I keep this interesting for everybody. Because I love playing guitar. That'll never go anywhere, right? But yeah, I've already been, like, last 12 months, I've been way more fussy with what I've put on the channel than I ever have. And I think it's going to get even more so next year. I declined so much stuff. I could have a video going up every day, but I don't want to do that anymore. It's just not that. I don't really feel like it's, what's the point of that? So yeah, to keep more balanced next year. I'm already working out more, doing the back to the gym thing every few days and feeling good and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna do something pretty drastic next year, not with the channel necessarily, but just in life, and we'll see what comes out of it. I got a few good ideas up my sleeve, one of which I didn't get to do last time we went away. So maybe it'll be this year. We'll see how we go. Hey, thank you, Mr. Ryan. I appreciate. Oh, sorry, I appreciate that. This is you've done all the hard yards, so looking forward to it. Hey, thank you, mate. Yeah, I don't know, man. I watch a lot of different YouTube channels in different niches, and I've got different interests outside of guitar. I'm sure we all have, and I'm like really thankful I've been able to do this as long as I have, and still have it kind of work. But it's getting more challenging, you know, like the broken notifications thing. And I've been on them for months about that. Like every video I see comments about, hey, the notifications don't work. Like, yeah, I know. So it's getting harder to sort of reach people. And it's also, I think it's just that I'm kind of like geared out a little bit when it comes to making videos. The process of how I make videos is part of the thing that's like, it's it's not easy. I mean, it is easy. I'm great at it now after doing thousands of them, but to get the kind of results I'm happy with, it takes a bit of time, takes a lot of equipment, all that kind of stuff. So I might really sort of strategize how I'm producing guitar videos next year as well, just to maybe simplify it a bit, and just keep it interesting. But yeah, I definitely want to do some more stuff at Jerry's next year, see his new shop, have some fun over there, do that. Maybe see some new guitar shops, but also start incorporating a few different kind of yeah, a bit more personable stuff as well, which I'm not going to give away because I feel like someone else will just do the idea. It's just how it is, right? It's like I was on my 7th annual end of year wrap up video coming up this year, and all the other channels like, oh, I've been doing this every year. It's like that's your first one now, like it's just you got to come up with different stuff to keep the interest, I think. So yeah, it is what it is. But I love the live streams. I'm going to start, this program generally makes it easy when my computer's working. So I'll have more interaction with everybody once I get into this new phase of making content. Good. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how we go. SG is the real workhorse for Gibson. Yeah, it's a guitar I've sort of had a love-hate relationship with. There's some SGs that just sound so good, and they're light and they sound amazing, but I've never been able to get into the position of my hand playing like an open E chord or a G. I'm always a couple of frets out. It feels like I have to stretch too far to get to an E, but I'm a big fan of how SGs sound, man, and I like their look too. Tony says the key to do it and review only what you really like. This is why I only put up reviews once in a while. Yeah, I 100% agree. And that's how I've always tried to work. Like, most of the stuff I showcase is what I borrow. There's exceptions. Most of the pedals come in from, like, a manufacturer or a builder or something, but not all of them. Like, all the Boss ones I reposted recently, they're all loaners from the shop because it's easy. And it makes it more fun when I can kind of pick and choose. And if I can't, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, you know, I've had so many times where I've signed something to get a product in on time for a release video, and then it never shows up. It's like, what? So I want to take all of that out of the equation. I go very little out of my way to contact companies. I very rarely send any of them a message unless I'm like, hey, this is what I do. I love the idea of this. Can I check it out? And that might only happen now once every few months. Not even. Maybe once every 6 months. I don't even remember the last time I did that, to be honest. It might have been Universal Audio. I contacted them to see if I could check out one of their power attenuation things. And I just thought, if I can't borrow it from now on, or if it isn't easy with the contact I already have, then I'm probably just not going to bother. The back catalog's huge too, so I'm kind of lucky. But I've always been fussy with what I put on. I haven't. Yeah, back in the early days when I was growing the channel, I reviewed anything I could borrow and get my hands on. And then I just decided to not be at the mercy of like a distributor paying me to make videos of stuff I'm not interested in. There's a lot of channels that do that. Hats off to them for being able to do it, but I'm not one of those guys, man. If I wanted to do that, I'd go work. You could work in any job and do stuff you don't want to do every day. So yeah, I feel like now it's time for a change. It's getting to that point in the channel's life where whether or not it goes up again will remain to be seen. But you know what? It's had a good run. So yeah, and I've got other things I can also do online, which helps. So yeah. All right, sorry guys, long-winded rant, or not rant, but whatever you want to call it, brain dump. And that was so fun. I wish I could have started that again. You know, back in the day, I used to get so many people used to say to me for years, "Oh, we can't understand what you're saying." So I used to change the way I spoke. And now no one cares. I'm just speaking like myself now. It's like, I wish there's so many of those like that. I really enjoyed doing that. That channel was so fun. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Rhiannon's gonna get into doing that. That'd be hilarious. Someone said before, hey Dylan, sorry man if I didn't say hi before. Hope you're doing well, mate. Dylan's a long-term supporter of the channel, so thanks for joining in, mate. Hope your guitar playing's going well. Looks like you got a nice little acoustic there. That photo could be quite old, I'm tipping. I think I've seen that before. Very cool. Thank you, mate. Am I still giving Rhiannon guitar lessons? My daughter spontaneously asked me to teach her some stuff last week. It was fun. Yeah, Rhiannon sort of goes in bursts with stuff. She's really she's got a good ear at like working. She's going through a course, basically. It's like, it was all the basic sort of rock and roll kind of strumming stuff. So, you know, a lot of sort of rhythm guitar stuff, chord changes, all that kind of thing. And then she gets stuck. And then, like we all do, we go, oh no, I can't do this, and I'm like, all right, you're trying to play it too perfectly, and it's a good thing to be precise. But so occasionally I'll sit down with her and I go, you can play the chord part. What's catching you is you're overthinking what they tell you to do on your rhythm hand. play it so it sounds right, even if it's slightly different, and move on. So, like, I think anytime someone plays a cover song, unless they really know the strumming patterns and they're thinking about the way the original guy played it, as long as you're playing the feel, even if you're not hitting the upstroke, you're hitting the downstroke instead, it's still fine. And that when she gets past that, she's quite good. So occasionally I'll help her with a few things, but not that often. She's sort of in her, she likes just sort of being able to focus on it. And I'm usually doing, guitar or recording all day or whatever too. So she kind of, she asked me for help when I know, I'll offer some help if I can see she's stuck on something for more than a few days. I'm like, are you still playing that? And then it's funny because this app has all this like this is how you play this riff. I can't even remember what it is. And she showed me. I'm like, that's so not the way to play that. I'm like, try it like this. And I said, put that finger there, then just move this one. Don't bring them all off the guitar and then bring them all down. And she's like, oh, that's so easy now. And I was like, yo, those are the tips that are useful for her. So anyway, I'll let her get through a thing. She's still enjoying it. I think she's doing like a beginner's country sort of course at the moment. YouTube is saturated now. Yeah, the scope, I think, of what YouTube also pushes has changed drastically. I noticed there, because I do a lot of website stuff outside of this as well, and I noticed when their core update happened through Google, they deprioritized a lot of channels that would like a lot of websites, I should say, that were like just reviewing stuff because of the inherent bias that could be associated with someone who either gets it for free or reviews it or AI. And a lot of that. And I think that's also going through on YouTube to some extent. I noticed a lot of the gear channels, even if they push hard, they release videos every day. They don't really do that well. There's obviously exceptions to the rule with everything, like massive channels with massive audience base. And I think people are tuning out as well. There's not enough interest in it anymore. There's a whole lot of other factors, but I almost feel like the gear channels are becoming less of a... They're just not hitting the same mark anymore because they've, A, been around forever. And again, like we spoke about before, it feels like the same thing's coming out every year, with the exception of some unique sort of pedals and guitars and so forth. But yeah, it's definitely changed. So yeah, it's time to try something new. That's my 2 cents for anyone making content. These live streams are awesome. Hey, thanks, Will. I appreciate that, mate. I used to do these all the time, and then I just stopped, much like the podcast. I just kind of stopped doing it. Again, podcast is another thing I got to kind of almost force myself into sometimes. And I should just do it because people like the podcast and they always get good views and all that kind of thing. But I'm one of those guys that needs to be a bit inspired to do stuff sometimes. I can do things when I'm under the pump. Like the last few days, I've worked like crazy because we're going away. I need to get a whole bunch of stuff done. And I got plenty of stuff done. But yeah, sometimes if I don't often, the podcast is a different mentality. It's not like, let's get this done. It's kind of like, I got to put some thought into this and do it in a way where it works. Otherwise, I don't want to half-ass stuff either. So it is what it is. But the live streams for me are fun too. It's great. Hey, Shane says, I got my notification exactly when you started. Hey, thank you, mate. That's great to know. It's like maybe me contacting them as well actually helped at some point. That's great. Hey, Dan, thank you, mate. $7.99 from Dan. Thank you. That's awesome, man. Nice guitar you got there. Looks like a Strat. Very cool. What are you, right-hander? Yep. Sweet. That's cool. Thank you, mate. I appreciate the support. If you have any questions, let us know in the chat. Just add in the blues me and I'll keep an eye out for you. All right. I'll just go back up here. Kung Pao says, where are you in Oz? I'm having a senior moment. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, I was talking to Rhyannon about this at some point. I reckon I might go to Perth. Or we might. But, there's not just me. But yeah, she's from there, and man, it's so beautiful. Kind of reminds me how Melbourne felt like probably 30 years ago. Yeah, it's easy to get around. There's no traffic jams. No one uses the horn. It's safe and clean, and yeah, it's great. Maybe one day. Got some great guitar shops over there too. All right, so Jamal says, "Hey, a quick question: how do you listen to music when you do? Do you listen to music on vinyl or vinyl?" Sorry, on. You're right. I was yeah. Sorry, it's getting late. It's nearly 11 p.m. here. Far out. I don't have a record player. I still have CDs with no CD player. I got the YouTube Premium thing because I know it it gives me no ads and it allows me to download stuff. So I'm forever listening to music either via I got one of those little Google speaker things upstairs. I listen to music on that. I listen to music on my iMac, and in my car, I'll stream it from my phone from YouTube. I'm not a big believer in subscription services to anything, but the YouTube one I am, because I know it supports the creators, and it's a great little app. So yeah, I mostly just stream everything through YouTube now. Like the CDs don't get much rotation anymore, and the amount of times I've like taken or copied my CDs to the computer, lost the drive or had to reformat or didn't back it up or something where it got corrupt, I just got sick of it. But I still have those hard copies there. It's not to say I don't like vinyl. I just don't own it. My mum's she's right into vinyl. Not like crazy into it, but she used to be into it back in the day. Still kept some of her records. She ended up buying another turntable at some point. It's great. So yeah, mostly I'm streaming. I don't really get into Spotify. I've tried it a couple of times, and one subscription service for me for media is enough. Yeah, Rhiannon's got a few. She's got Netflix and stuff, but for me, I spend most of my day on there listening. I love podcasts. I love music albums. Finding like great. Like I've been binge listening to Mark Knopfler recently in Dire Straits as well, and just like soaking that in. There's so many great recordings. There's some Albert King stuff that just got posted where he's wearing a pink suit. It's hilarious. It's so good. I love it. It's kind of like a infinite resource, and for me, it's more fun to actually see stuff going on as well as just listen to it. I was trying to think of the last time I just put an album on and listened to it distraction free, and it's been a long time. I usually have background music on if I'm doing something else, like if I'm tidying up or setting up, or if I'm at the gym, I'll sometimes just have music playing. But sometimes I'll just listen to a podcast. So it's weird. But yeah, I don't know. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you're still into vinyl. I've still got a couple of original cassette tapes from back in the day. But yeah, CD was more my era. And thanks again, Dan. I appreciate that, mate. All right. I used to be a gaming YouTube a long time ago, and I'm just sad for what YouTube is pushing. They're making this like public television site and not like share my hobby in video site. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it should be that it is technically still a place for everybody unless they don't like you, which kind of sucks. But I see what you mean. Like all the ESPN Sports and all the shows and all that kind of stuff are on here now. And I remember a while back they were really pushing celebrities, and that really backfired in their face. But there's plenty of other sites. Like I upload to Rumble, and I know Rumble's got a bit of a hard. Most people think Rumble is the place that all the people who get banned on YouTube go to, but that's actually way more diverse now than it was like 2 years ago. Or a lot of content creators are starting to work out. It's probably a good idea to have the archive of videos somewhere else, right? And so there's plenty of different places for people to upload and get seen and have an audience. They have I think 100 million people a month on their website. It's not some dinky video sharing site. Sure, it's mostly still political. I don't go there for that, but it's good because it's just a different crowd, different site, and it feels a little bit. It feels more refined, but it feels a bit like how YouTube was, maybe sort of 7 years ago or something like that. Have I ever played a Maton electric? I've owned one. I've actually played two. I reviewed two on the channel. One I owned, which I thought was great until I played it live, and then I didn't like it. It had a P90 style single coil in the neck pickup, which wasn't very good, and it had a humbucker in the bridge, which was killer. It was a Maton master sound. They don't make them anymore. Maton do this thing where they'll run a bunch of guitars for a few years and then they'll stop for 10. And I think they're got to be getting close to making another run at some point because it's been a long time. So that's one of the ones I played. I played this other one, which was some dude who I can't remember his name. It was like an artist signature edition one. It was okay. But I'm not a big fan of their electrics. Their acoustics are much better instruments. To me at least anyway, their electrics feel like acoustic guitar necks and acoustic guitar frets. And that's not what I really love as an electric guitarist. Little Roddy Guitar says, good morning from the States. Never got a notification, but no worries. In the Blues, Peavey Classic 30 or Fender Blues Deluxe? I would take a Fender Blues Deluxe for live playing, just because they're louder, but I don't love the stock speaker. The Classic 30s are pretty good, man. They're definitely not as good as the Classic 50s, and not because I've got one, but just inherently they're not as nice sounding. They're not quite as large sort of sounding either, but obviously because of the configuration. But a Blues Deluxe will fill any room. They really will. Classic 30 are pretty close to doing that, but not quite. But the Classic 30's got a better drive channel. So if that's important to you, you can do that as well. I love Melbourne when the missus and I visited in 2006. Yeah, it's probably changed a lot since then. And I would argue probably not for the better. It's probably because I live here. I don't know. I'm just a bit over it. It's time for a change. Steven says, I've swapped out the speaker in my Peavey Studio Pro with a speaker out of my old Jackson cab, red with the black center cone. Trying to find any info on them. I don't know what that... I mean... Is there nothing listed about the ohms of that speaker? I would make sure you got the right speaker ohms in there because you can sort of damage the amp, or it might not run as efficiently, meaning you're not going to get the full volume. But again, for the Peavey Studio Pro, a good speaker for that is the WGS ET65. They're quite good. Or as I said earlier, the Texas Heat is my favorite for Peavey amps. Addicted to Gear says YouTube is prioritizing the short videos. That's what they're pushing. It's distracting from everything else. You know, for like the last year, I've had YouTube Shorts block enabled on Google Chrome. I say that going into like a month of trying short videos coming up pretty soon. But yeah, it is what it is, man. You just sort of got to... It goes with different trends and flows. And then, you know, some channels they just got a great way of... being consistent with what they do, and it's interesting. You know, I think that's the difference between like gear channels and interesting channels. Like the interesting ones bring up different topics and points, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's who knows. You just got to keep plugging away, but it's definitely a thing, and now you can do up to I think 3 minutes in the shorts, which is something that is just coming in. I think what's like, from the creator's point, it's pretty hard to make any money doing shorts. It's just you're doing it to just try to get found, right? That's kind of how that works. But now they're going up to 3 minutes. It makes me wonder, like, are they doing that so they basically pay people less? Is that how that works? I don't really understand the logic in the 3-minute shorts, but who knows? D flat major 7 says, "Good day, Shane. I just wanted to say that your gear review a few years ago, the Fender American Original 50s Telecaster, was a big influence on me and finally getting one." Oh, awesome, mate. That's fantastic. 2018 one in mint condition. Thanks. Hey, you're welcome. I was playing mine about 2 days ago. It's still one of my favorite tallies. It's the best off-the-shelf tally I've ever owned. It really is. It's a great guitar. I've got two tallies that almost look identical for some reason. I'm a weirdo, but one of them's that, and the other one's my 52 reissue, and the original 50s one is better. Little Roddy Guitar says he's getting back into vinyl. Very cool. Shane says, "Oh, yeah, there you go. Cool." All right, YouTube Premium is slightly more expensive than Spotify, but you get the music app and the videos. Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, you're right. The music collection is crazy. It's great. I don't know, man. I just don't want to have to deal with like multiple things to arrange and sort of. All I know is the times I've had Spotify, it's been great for driving. Occasionally, I just like having it on in the car, but now pretty much I can do the same thing with the YouTube app. It sort of doesn't make a lot of sense, and I spend more time listening to podcasts and things that are of interest to me just in headphones than I would on Spotify. I know Spotify, I've got a lot of that stuff, but the visual part of it's kind of fun too. I like having the video there. If I want to watch it, I can kind of get invested in it a little bit better too. So yeah, it is what it is. Which one do I use? I will tell you right now. It's called YouTube Shorts Block. This is basically, it's got a few different options, and you need to exit. Once you set it up, you just exit out of the app, or out of your browser, I should say, and then fire it back up. And you can opt to not see them at all on your feed, which is how I've got it set up, unless you click on it. And if it plays a short, if you click on one through search, it loads it as a regular video, which is way better. So yeah, give it a go. Dougal says, "I'm over in Perth, Shane. I want somewhere even slower. Tassie." Yeah, mate. You're going to miss the weather. Trust me. You don't want to go to Tasmania. No, Tassie's actually beautiful, but yeah, it's probably a bit too... You might be right. Maybe that is your best option. Or Queensland. You can go to Far North Queensland or something like that. Keep the nice weather, but slower way of life. Man, Perth's great. I mean, look, I don't spend a lot of time in cities, so Perth as a city is fine. It's fine for me. Like, it's not really... I like the river and the ocean there. It's beautiful, and just how easy it is to get around. It's just so much easier to drive. It really is. It's super cool. I grew up down the coast, so I'm a bit more partial to less busy situations. I don't really love driving in crazy traffic. The craziest drive I did was a few years back coming out of Miami. It was insane. I mean, I've driven in Melbourne for like 20 years, but that was insane. I was like, wow, how do people do this? 6-lane freeways, people doing like 100 miles an hour. So fast. No one's indicating. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. So yeah, for me, like, as to live somewhere, I'm right into I think more chilled areas now. Just get out, enjoy the sun, go for a walk. Well, take it easy, mate. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Heidi says, "I use the new Pipe app for YouTube. No ads, no downloads as possible." Okay, cool. Very cool. I haven't heard of that one before. I know some apps kind of work for a while and then they don't. I almost feel like maybe they get somehow blocked on the whatever their API access is. But I'll have to check that one out. I just like paying for it anyway. I mean, like, as a creator, I like supporting, I don't know how much of the premium goes back to the creators, but I know it's something, and I feel like I get enough sort of entertainment and knowledge out of paying for it for what the channels that I watch, and I'm happy to do so. Again, I I'm not into subscription services, but that's one that, because it's what I do, it kind of makes sense for me. But thanks for the tip. We can all check that out. Baron Guitar, bonjour, welcome. Found a cheap Peavey Bandit 112. The newer ones, silver knobs, are virtually impossible to read. Replace them with different knobs from Pedal Parts Australia. Way better. Hey, I know that guy that works at Pedal Parts Australia. His name's... Oh, actually, I helped him fix his server. I think it was Pedal Parts Australia. Maybe it isn't. Let me have a look. I could be wrong. Oh, no, it isn't this guy. My bad. I think it's a different site. It looks completely different. Yeah, cool. Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's easy to sort of mod this stuff out. It's sort of a generic size. You can easily find one that works for you. That's great. I think it was DIY Pedal something, the mate of mine's site. Very cool. All right. I tell you what, we might wrap this up pretty soon. I think it's been a while. I'm probably not going to be able to timestamp this now. It's 2 hours. 2 hours on the dot. We're doing overtime. Not that I got to be anywhere, but it is 11 p.m. Oh, wow. Okay. Atlanta's traffic is worse than Miami. Far out. I've driven through Atlanta, but I must have been not through the city because I didn't find it that bad. But that was a little while ago now. That was quite some time ago. Yeah, Miami was insane. I've never seen anything like the freeways there. I've driven a lot in the US. Way more than I think, yeah, than anyone else I know from any other country that goes there. And that was mental. So I can't imagine Atlanta. That sounds crazy. Is YouTube profitable now? I know Spotify has never turned a profit. I mean, they're still making money as a business, yeah, for sure. But I think, you never know, right? These things can come and go pretty quick. And Google pretty much, I don't think they'll ever stop YouTube. I think they'll just charge the premium people more for actually paying for the service. I don't know. Or do you mean as a creator? Because it's up and down, but it's still working. I mean, I've been doing it for a while now. All right, guys, we might wrap this up. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for the super chats, everybody. We had 3 from Kira and Gina, from Sassy Cat. Thank you again. And Dan, you guys rock. Thank you for the support. And thanks to the mods. And thanks to everyone for joining in. Appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one. I'll schedule the next one up probably in the next 3 days, maybe 4 days, for like a week from today. So hang in there. Yeah, I've got about 1 video in amongst the live stream. So I got a couple of short videos. We were talking about them before, but I'm going to try just pumping them out for a while. So you'll see a whole bunch of those come out, or if you install the shorts block thing like I did, you won't see them. So you can do that too. But essentially, yeah, there's some Gretsch guitar stuff coming up, some Reverend stuff. I've got some amp videos and a few other bits and pieces coming up over the next few weeks. And then while I'm away for a brief amount of time, it's 10 days, there'll still be stuff going up as well. But I'll post some photos, and if I can do a live stream, I will. But yeah, we'll see how we go with that internet connection. All right, guys, take care. Thank you for joining in, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Now, while I hit stop, listen to some background music here. Got all these sound effects I never use. All right, take care, folks. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Where's the stop button again? Oh, yeah, finish. Finish would be the stop button.